You did mention then a number of times about high fidelity. What do we mean by high fidelity, and how do we ensure that our therapeutic communities are operating in that manner?
Okay, I want to give you my personal way of understanding it. The word fidelity, as you know, roughly means faithful to. And the faithful to begins with this statement. We have an approach called the therapeutic community, which is really a setting. The actual approach is the use of community as method. The claim for that approach is that if it's implemented appropriately and for reasonable, appropriate period of time, also you'll get certain outcomes. When we use the word fidelity, what we came out of the evaluation studies largely, although some straight observation of programs would often show dropout rates, which would indicate there may be problems in how people are operating their program and they're losing people. But when you actually do evaluation studies and you see that the model that they're using, the treatment approach that they're using, whatever they're adhering to, if they really adhere to every required step, every prescribed step, do they understand the basic perspective or theory behind what they're doing? And then what they're doing it in an appropriate, optimal way. I'm giving you all the positives. You're in the area of fidelity. I broke it out simple and said, for TCs, when I want to actually assess whether a program, where it is on fidelity, I have two sub-studies on that, two assessments. What's their model fidelity? Model fidelity means, in this program, do they have all of the essential physical elements? Do they have the curriculum in place? Do they have a hierarchy? You know what I mean? Do they have a privileged disciplinary system? Do they have what the textbook kind of lists of what should be in that program as a high communities method? So it's all in place. Do they do the morning meeting? Do they do the house meeting? Do they do the seminar? That's model fidelity. Well, this program, I actually developed initially in prison TCs because they really needed it. And so the issue was, you can be classified as high, medium, low fidelity in terms of how much did you have here. But there's a second fidelity, which is practice fidelity. Yes, they have a morning meeting, but how well do they do that morning meeting? And do they really understand it? Now, that's where we've had the real problems. A lot of the programs in U.S. and the world, Brazil as an example, call themselves therapeutic communities. They neither have good model fidelity. For most of them, you'll see very little of what should be in there simply as an activity. They don't have it. They don't do it. But when they do have it, but you don't see any real practice fidelity. So then assessing it. How do you assess it? But it's easier and easier to assess it. Watch. It's easy to know what's the essential elements that should be in it. That's the model. You got the model in place. Those are usually stationary things that you do. Okay, maybe there are programs that don't have it all. Programs that still call themselves therapeutic communities. I kind of rambled on this. They'll borrow two or three elements. I said it offended me, but I knew that I don't want to argue with society on this, and they're doing this. These are programs that shouldn't be really considered in the same way that the original TCs were considered. These are TC-oriented programs. And when you finally get into the issue of high fidelity, the model is in place, and you go then review what's going on, and that's what I do when I actually spend my training time.
So essentially then, looking at high fidelity, there's a model component, essentially, which is a checklist. All of these items need to be included to be classified as a therapeutic community.
That's right.
But then all of those on that checklist, then it's about the quality and the understanding of the delivery and what we're actually doing.
Okay, now in terms of maybe what's particularly relevant to this film even that we're doing, what's the training implication on this? If people really understand fidelity in general, and then model fidelity, and then practice fidelity, they have to be ready to be assessed on both. You know what I mean? But the issue was pointing out to them what it is that they need to work on. And that could be, assessing, watching the activity like we watch morning meeting, Once you appreciate this fidelity concept and recognize how paramount it is in everything, then the question is how much of your time, how much of staff time do you want to devote to actually carrying out informal assessment? And that means they need the training on what they should be looking at. You'll use someone like me or someone who can give them that training so they'll know really how to assess it. That means you go back to theory, and then you go back to how do you look at somebody practicing it? Then you'll have a great strength in the program. You'll really be able to assess and stall this phenomenon in all treatment programs of systematic erosion of fidelity. If you don't watch the program continually, it'll erode. Things will happen. So you have to get high fidelity, then you got to maintain it, and in that respect. So you're really hearing new age instruction here on how to go forward. These are all insights that come out of the years of the clinical and research work. I hope you can at least appreciate it from that point of view.
No, definitely.